This is going to be a brick making tutorial. I have done them out of egg cartons, I have done them out of cardboard, and now I'm going to do some out of cork because it'll really give it more that look and feel. I just got these little cheap cork coasters. And the measurements for a real brick to get it down to 1/12 size is 1/8, which is how wide this is, I guess the depth of it. It's 1/8 by 1/4 by 9/16 is the length of it. So I have marked off a 1/4 inch all the way across, and I tried cutting it with my X-Acto, which is really sharp, but it didn't work as well as just cutting them with the scissors. And so that's what I've done, and cut all these, and then I'll just take one of these bricks and put it on here, and then I'll just mark it all the way down and cut these all out. And once I get them all cut out, then I will paint them. So let me get that done, and we'll check on the painting in a minute. Well, I've got a million little bricks cut here. I may not have enough. What I'm going to do is put them inside my fireplace box for my den. So I thought I'd just show you the colors that I use to paint them. And I love the gold and fluid acrylics because they're thin, and I use them all the time when I paint paintings. But and I like this Liquitex too. So I've got raw sienna. This burnt umber light I use for staining floors, for painting furniture. I use it for tons of stuff. And I like this, whatever this is, because it's got a little red in it. And I like to mix a little red in there. And then burnt sienna. So I kind of just mix them all together. And some of them I'll just paint straight one color. Like, and then, well, maybe not. But you can mix them. I just don't want them all the same color. So some of them I'll just paint one of the colors, and some of them I'll mix them and see what color they come out. I don't want really dark brown, but you can also just kind of dab some color on there, and we'll see what colors they come out. But this is kind of what I do. I just add a little color to them as I go. You do kind of need to do some of the sides, so you don't, because you don't want that to show, even though I'm going to put grout in between them. You don't want the sides looking crappy, so, and showing the cork. Although I think once you get the, once I get the grout in there, I don't think you'll see it, but anyway, there's no rhyme or reason to how I do what I'm doing, but we'll see how they all turn out. And there'll be mixtures of browns and reds and with a little yellow. And that is how I do my bricks. And when I finish, I will come back and start putting them in to, and you know what? When I get that much on, I'm just going to stick it on another one and transfer it over there, because that was way too much paint. Anyway, just have fun. It's not, when you start putting them in, you're not going to be able to tell anything about all this anyway. It's just they're going to look like bricks, I hope. But I do like the cork because it gives them a little bit of texture. It makes them look more like bricks. Then just my egg cartons looked okay, but I really like this better. So anyway, give it a shot. Okay, I got all of my bricks that I painted glued into the fireplace, and then I sprayed them with this polyurethane because I wanted to put real grout in between them, and I did not want I didn't want it getting on the cork and the paint. I mean, some of it did, but anyway, I want to use real grout so that it would look very realistic, which I think it does. And this is the grout that I used, and I'll have links to all this underneath the video. And I just mixed up a tiny little amount, like in one of these little, one of these. So that's all I needed, and I had some left over. So once the polyurethane dried, I did that, and then I just used part of a sponge and wiped and wiped and wiped and wiped, and then I'd let it dry and I'd wipe some more, and then I let it dry and wipe some more. And you can still see some of the grout got onto the bricks, but I think that still makes it look a little more realistic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some black on the back to make it look like I've had some fires in it, and I'm just using a chalk pastel that I have. You can use chalk, or I have all these, all of these pastel things from when I, was painting and doing art, which I used. But so I'm just using one of those that I have. But kids chalk, whatever, you certainly don't need something expensive. And I'm just doing it with my X-Acto knife. And then I've just got a little cheap brush, and I'm going to put some of this on there. It'll probably take a good bit to blacken it up, like that there's been a fire in there. Actually, it's going to take a lot. I did use paint one time on one of my other fireplaces, but I like this better because it's not as, it doesn't cover up everything, kind of like the paint does. So I'll probably just keep scraping this and I'll put it down here and put it back here and put it up here at the top and spread it out a little bit down towards the bottom. So I will not bore you with how long that's going to take me to do that, but I will do that. And then I'm going to come back, and I'm trying to figure out a way to make this look like a real fire in here. I have a couple of ideas, so I'm going to test them out, and then when I figure that out, I'll come back and do that. Okay, I got my fireplace all sooted up and the way I like it, and I kind of added just a little bit around, just so the grout wasn't quite so white. But anyway, so there it is, all dirtied up. And here is what I've used in my other fireplaces from Evans Designs, and I'll have a link to that underneath. This is a great thing. It's just a little battery operated 3-volt, and it comes with the battery and everything you need to do this. And on my other fireplaces, I drilled a hole out the side because then you can kind of hide the battery thing, and you can stick this on the side to turn it on and off. And you can't even see it on either one of my other ones. But this one, the back of this is going to be on the outside of my house, and I'm going to have something else have a little place because I've got some other things that are going in the back of that. So I'm going to have a little door I can open. So I'm going to drill my hole through the back of here. And then what you do is you take, I think they're 2 yellow and 1 red light of these. And then I'm just going to put those through the back of there and hook it all up. And I'll show you how to do that, but it's pretty easy. But I don't think I'm going to use my Dremel to drill the hole and do that, and I'll show you, but it's just loud and obnoxious, so it's pretty easy. Either you could do it on the side or there, and you honestly, with this wood and the cork, you could do it with a little pin, one of these. I could actually do it with this, but I'm just going to do it way down, and I may just use this because then I can get way down in the bottom of it and just drill the hole right there and stick those through. But then I'm gonna I'm going to try something different. So, because I really want it to look like it's real fire, and the other ones don't. They're just kind of blinking lights. So, and this will be too, but if I cover it up right, I think it'll look good. So anyway, I will finish drilling this hole, which yes, I can go through here. This is not going to be hard. And stick my lights in here and get all my other things gathered up to do. And I'll be back. Okay, so I drilled my hole and pulled the wires through, and then I temporarily hooked them up. All you do is, put the red wires together and the black wires together, and that's all you have to do, but you don't want them to touch. And I put the battery in because I wanted to figure out where I want these lights to go. And there's a yellow blinking one, a red blinking one, and a yellow one that stays yellow. So I put the yellow one that stays yellow, oh, that's so obnoxious, in the middle. And I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna glue or tape them down just so they're like that. And then I'm going to get to work on the rest. And one thing I actually forgot to mention, because after I drilled my hole and I had sawdust in there, I blew it, and of course I blew away some of my soot. So I did take some polyurethane and just tiny bit and sprayed it just so it'll stay there. There's also pastel fixative and everything, but the polyurethane worked great. So I'm going to get this glued down and figure out, the kit comes with this little paper, this little holographic paper that you can put over it. So I may try to incorporate that. It doesn't really do much for me, but I'm not sure. But anyway, that just may temper it a little bit. But I'm going to get my lights glued down in the position that I want them first, and then come back and play with the other things I want to do. Okay, so I got my wires through, and I took that little piece of holographic whatever that's in there, and I just used some of my museum wax that I use for everything, and I put it underneath the paper, and I've just kind of crinkled the paper over, and I stuffed some on that and stuck it down. And now what I'm going to do is I went, wait, let me turn this off. I went outside and I played Power Maniac for a little while. I got some just, copy paper and some matches, and I just burned a bunch of stuff up, and I made some ashes. So what I'm going to do is put some glue in here. And this is that Aleene's Tacky Glue, which is dries clear. And I'm going to put it all over this and kind of spread some around in here. And spread it around on top of the paper. And because I put the paper down with, I'd still be able to pull it up, but anyway, I'll be able to, if I ever needed to get it out for any reason, I'd be able to pull it up. So let's get some of this in these grooves. And then I'm just going to dump, I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to dump my ashes all over. In here. And then just dump off the excess. And it does look like I have had a fire. I don't know if you can see that very well. But anyway, it's hard to see because it's so dark, but it looks like, let me get a flashlight. Hold on. Okay, now you can see it better. So I've just piled all of these ashes in here. It looks like a fireplace that I've had a fire. Let's see how it looks when I turn on. Well, stick that back down. Not staying down very well. But that looks kind of cool. Under the ashes. So I need to stick it down better. It's not staying down very well. Maybe the glue will help after it dries some. So, but anyway, that's going to be my base. And since you can still see the lights coming through, I think that looks really cool. So I'm going to let this dry before I mess with it anymore, and then come back and we'll figure out. I have been out in my yard picking up sticks. So that's what I'm going to use for my logs. Okay, this is why I'm really bad at tutorials. So I got all my ashes done, and I put in my little andirons that I want to use. And I woke up in the night going, you can't even see these. I mean, without a flashlight. I mean, they're hard to see with all that in the back. Everything's so dark. So I woke up in the night and went, oh, I think I should paint them, you know, a brass color. So now that I've got them glued in there, I'm going to take them out and I'm going to paint them to look like brass. And then I will come back and put them back in. I've cut all my little sticks up to look like logs. And maybe then I'll finish this tutorial. I decided instead of painting my andirons, I remembered I had some rub and buff. I love this stuff. And anyway, so I'm using the gold leaf, and I mean, it just takes just a tiny little bit, and you just rub it on whatever, the wood or metal or anything. I mean, I've done it on lots of stuff, but it's just so easy, and it's really cool looking. Because it's leaving some of the black, which I like, so that it looks a little bit older. And it's really kind of cool. And I think I'm going to leave the back part black. I don't know. I'll just go ahead and make it bronzy looking, because it doesn't look like gold. I think it really looks like, kind of like bronze or something. Anyway, so I just thought I would share that. So I'm just using the gold leaf rub and buff. And I'll get them done and be back. Okay, I've got my andirons in, I've got my logs, and I glued them. I glued my logs in because in my other two fireplaces, they fall out all the time, so I'm going to go back and glue those too. But anyway, so got them glued in, and the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a tiny bit of black paint and just kind of here and there, so it looks like, you know, it's been burned a little bit. Just a little, not much at all, just to blacken up the logs just a little bit. And then I have undid the wiring, so I can show you how to do that. In the little kit, it comes with the two little shrink tubes, these little things, and that's to go over the wire to just keep them together. And so I undid them. All you do is the red to the red wire to red wire, and twist. Oh, you put the shrink tube on one side first, doesn't matter which. Then red wire, and also it keeps them. You don't ever want them, once you've hooked them together, to touch the reds to the black. So I just twist mine up, and I fold it down. Obviously, I didn't twist well, so yes, twist them together really well, because you don't want them coming apart. And then I just fold one side down, and I put the tube right over where they're twisted together, and get my heat gun. And it shrinks it on there. It shrinks it on there so that the wires don't come apart. And there you have it. It's all shrunken on there. So then I'm going to do the blacks together. Put the tube on one side. And then I'm going to take it and put it in the den of my dollhouse, which will be, and we'll see how that looks. So I've got this, oh sorry, I'm so bad at this. I apologize. I can't see what I'm doing. You can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, so I'm sliding it over the wire. You can kind of see it there. And you can tell, I mean, it shrinks around the wire, so when you put heat to it, I've seen people use a match to heat it up. It's anything that'll heat it up and shrink it, and then it's stuck on there. And there you go. So I'll go put it in the dollhouse, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so I've got my spot for the fireplace to go, but I'm going to do it, and then I said this is where I said I'm going to have a door on the back, because this is from my game room, the green neon light that has batteries, so I want to be able to get to that. So on this back part, I'm going to have a door on here so I can get back to this stuff. So I'm going to bring this around the whole. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Okay, so the whole fireplace, I'm going to bring it around, and in the front, there it is. And I'm not going to worry about that the brick doesn't meet up to the hardwood, because I'm going to make a hearth. I just hadn't decided what yet. And I'm going to glue this from the back onto the wood there, and then it'll be ready. It's glued in and it's working, and I think it looks really good. So I'm going to work on the hearth and the mantle and get it all finished. Thanks for putting up with how terrible this has been. I'm sorry. I'm going to get better, I promise.